And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the inaugural episode of DSN Podcast. So this is a new thing for the Smet DSN Podcast, something we've been wanting to get going now for a little bit. We're going to have a chance today to talk a little bit of Spartan sports talk. We're also going to have other different type of podcasts, probably try and get one out a week. Next week, you'll probably be more on the State to School, getting ready for Mission Week. We might have a fine arts one, a little film one later as well. So, host today, I'm Nick Abel. Got Cole Grothoff.
Yep, hey.
Brennan Burns.
How's it going?
And then, of course, main producer Kyle Granquist is going to jump in with us too.
Appreciate it.
So let's get right into it. Winter sports is the main thing going on right now. This will go out Monday. Is that February?
January 31st.
January 31st.
Yeah.
So we're filming on this Thursday morning. So we got some games coming up. It'll be in the past next week. So we'll back to the future action we got going here. Basketball. We'll start with basketball. They're in the middle of their Circle 7 tournament right now. Last night they had a win over Hazelwood Central, and they will play Parkway West in the finals Friday. So this will already have happened.
8 p.m., I believe?
8 p.m.
8 p.m.
That should be fun. They did beat Parkway West pretty handedly in the first time in that Coaches versus Cancer tournament. So a chance to maybe bring home some hardware before we get to playoffs for the Coach Williams team, who's starting to find a groove a little bit for sure.
I would have to agree. They really, at the beginning of the season, they started out a little shaky, but these later games, they've really come together, started to work together better.
12-5 on the year. They've looked great. They've almost every loss has been a one-possession loss. That's what Coach Williams talked about. Really, every game has been winnable so far.
Yeah, they really haven't had a game where they've had no chance of winning at all. I think you're looking at CVC, the loss to CVC, the loss to Chaminade, all within a last chance bucket that one day it might drop and other days it might not.
Yeah, and you've seen Brian Taylor really progress as a player this year. He's been the focal point of the offense, 19.4 per game. He's got 300 points on the year. He's kind of nearing that 1,000-point mark too. Which would be,
where is he at on that?
He's after last night, he's at 921, so
920.
79 points. He's got about 8 games left, so we should be able to do it before the end of the year.
Yeah, with the way he's playing, definitely.
Yeah. He's almost got 100 rebounds, and I think after last night he has 100 rebounds, and there's a few assists away from 100 as well. So great year for Brian.
Just an all-around creator for the offense,
Yeah.
I think. He can not only can he drop 35 a night, but he can also create plays for the shooters like Justin Duff or Isaiah or Jamal.
Yeah, I think we talk about Isaiah, who's the tallest man on the court. He's listed at 6'8". He's probably more like 6'7". His hair helps him out in that department.
Yeah, he's a senior transfer, so I think he's definitely finding his groove in these games coming up and games previous to this. I think he looked a little shaky in the beginning. He was a little slow, but now I hate to bring it up, but the CVC game, he played pretty well in that game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he also played great last night. He had 10 points. He could have had a few more shots that would have fallen. He could have had about 15. He's really starting to gain some confidence on the offensive end, especially. He's looking real good.
Yeah, he's really finding his fit in the team.
I think even he's doing so well on offense, but that's not even his strong point of the game. I think him on the defensive side of the ball is fantastic.
And it worked wonders, the CBC game, having a big man who can dribble the ball up when you don't have to put all the pressure on Brian.
When they were full court pressing and trying to trap us, he was great in the transition game and really comfortable with the ball.
Justin Duff, we mentioned, he's the second leading scorer on the team. He started off really, really hot. He's obviously our best shooter and sits about 90% on the free throw line. so he's a great attribute to have, especially late in games. We saw him hit some wild shots at Webster Grove's game. He nailed a 3 from about the logo to send it to overtime. And he's just been really good. And he's not the only Duff on the team. Dylan, one of the 5 freshmen who has seen the most floor time of all the freshmen, is just an athletic freshman.
Yeah, this is a really, if you look at like depth-wise, this is a really young team.
Yeah.
And I think they have a really good future. Some of those freshmen are getting quality minutes in a big game like CBC, and that's only going to help in their development.
Yeah, Riley Massey's the other freshman who has really helped the team, especially defensively. He's had to play in a lot of big games as well. He got in late in that CBC game, too, to make some stops. And he's shown some confidence and ability to play with the big guys, even though he's on the smaller side, which is really impressive.
Speaking of which, I think an underrated player that kind of goes under the radar is Conor Sullivan. He's the starting shooting guard, I believe. 6-man?
Yeah, he probably
Rotates
takes
in and out,
yeah.
I think. But he's the only player I've seen to take a charge this season. And I've only seen 2. And
Yeah.
they're with him. But,
We had one last night.
Oh.
I think it was Sullivan again. Yeah,
it might have been Sullivan.
probably was.
But he was huge in the game against SLU. Justin Duff was guarding Nick Kramer. But Conor Sullivan is a great defender.
Yeah,
Tenacious.
tenacious. Yeah, you had it right the first time.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's needed for his offensive prowess, but definitely defense, he's there.
No.
He contributes a lot to the team.
Yeah,
He
just
goes the dirty work, if you will.
yeah. He's
Yeah.
a gritty
grinder.
player. Yeah, he's just gonna get into those tough areas. I saw he had a great offensive rebound yesterday. It was really impressive, and he just works hard on both ends of the floor all the time. As we talked about, not the best offensive scorer, but we don't need him to be. He does what he's supposed to do. He takes good shots and will step up on tough guards in the defending area.
But he can absolutely knock down a shot
Yeah.
if he needs to.
Yeah.
I've seen him take some really good contested mid-ranges with a hand in his face and put it away.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's mid-range is going to – when you're a little outshined by Brian in the mid-range
I was gonna
department,
say,
he just floats over defenders. Looks like Caleb Love shooting the basketball.
yeah, it's an almost instant make.
Yeah.
When Brian drives.
When he gets hot from the elbow or from that short corner area, when he's just fading away, it's an unguardable shot. It's awesome. All right, so some good basketball talk, and they've got some big games next week. Vianney, another MCC opponent, and then CBC at their place. So, came down to a 5-point game last time. Brian had a chance to tie in the latter stages. That should be a fun one.
Game's on Wednesday.
Wednesday, February 2nd. So by the time this is released, it'll be in a couple days.
Yeah,
So big game.
big game.
I think we have a good chance.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, that John Bull really didn't really surprise or
Impress.
yeah, he
Didn't
didn't really
impress.
impress me.
yeah. I mean, he's a top 25 player in his class. He's not really a point scorer. You could tell his presence, especially on the defensive end. It really
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
it prevents guys from driving a little more. But Brian had no problems going around him and finishing. He had 25 in that game. But yeah, I mean, if you can give him the ball within the 3-foot radius of the hoop, chances are it's going to go in. But yeah, I mean, he only had 8 points. He had a nice dunk off the alley-oop, but that was like the 4th one they tried. Rob kept trying to get it to him. Rob Martin is their best player, I think, by far.
So fast.
I think Larry Hughes is better. I think Rob Martin just shined. No, you're disagreeing.
No.
You don't
There's-
agree with
Larry
that?
Hughes
I
is-
mean, I agree with Nick here. I don't
Really?
think
I don't know.
I think Larry is good. He's an athlete.
Both good. I mean, I'll give it to him. Rob Martin played a great game against us, but I think overall, I think Larry might be the best. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
He's
you
ranked-
guys are just
he's
gonna have
ranked
to
6th
agree to
in the state.
disagree on this one. I think.
Yeah. Rob Martin is the best high school ball handler I've ever seen. There's no doubt about that. He is. so shifty, and even at an undersized point guard, he didn't do. I mean, Brian had 25, but he didn't look lost on defense either against a taller Brian Taylor. When he gets inside, there's not much anybody's going to do, especially Rob. But offensively, he was outstanding. He pulls up and makes space for a smaller guy. It's really impressive.
All right.
Let's move over to hockey and Coach Gerso's Yellow Buckets. Playoffs coming up. New format this year, which is interesting. There's going to be some buys, little play-in games for some of those ladder seeds, which is kind of cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is that for both the Challenge Cup and the Wickenizer?
I think it's for both, which should make it interesting. I was talking to Tommy Reuter yesterday, kind of gave me the layout. Most likely we're going to sit at that five seed, and we'll play Kirkwood first. That's what it's looking like. So that'd be fun. Always Kirkwood games are great.
Kirkwood games get a little crazy.
Yeah.
Big game coming up that will have already happened by the time this comes out. Marquette
Senior night. Let's go.
Friday, what date is that?
The 28th.
The 28th. So, yeah, it'll already happen, but hopefully we come out with a win on a big night for the seniors. We have a lot of seniors.
Yeah.
Oh, well, do we have a lot of
Yeah,
seniors?
we have a good amount of seniors for sure. Charlie Grease will be in that. Chuck's mask is
Chuck's mask.
as we like to call him. He's got a beautiful helmet. Nice to Smet. I'll probably talk about that on the broadcast, most definitely. Hockey team's 10-5-3. They been a little inconsistent. They've lost some games they probably would have liked to have back, but they have played some really good games against good opponents, most notably that CBC tie. That was right there, 1-1 game. Went all the way down to the wire. Brady in net had to stand on his head a little bit in those last few minutes, but it was a really even game.
You know, there's been quite a few close games in the hockey sense. You know, their last game played Marquette. They won 3-2.
Yeah.
That was a tight one back and forth. So it'll be a good game Friday to see what happens there.
Yeah, their last win wasn't so close. They played Lafayette, who's one of the lower seeds, and they won 10-0. So they've had a few.
Off a 15-0 Edwardsville game.
Yeah,
A little bit of confidence boost before the playoffs.
That's
I'd
nice
say.
for sure. Get some of those guys some goals. Lockman has been their leader on and off the ice, senior captain. He averages over 2 points a game. He's got 15 goals. He's been excellent. Him and Salthouse tied in the goal department. They've been absolutely incredible. And he had 2 goals in that last win over Marquette. So he's got a little bit of confidence against the Mustangs. That 3-2 game was really good. So it was back and forth. There was a lot of penalties. Marquette had 16 penalty minutes. There's some sloppy ones on both sides.
Yeah, there was some unnecessary penalties in that game.
If I remember right, Marquette's goalie is really good, right?
Yeah, Weatherford is pretty good.
I believe he's going to Maryville to play.
Yes, he's going to
I
Maryville.
saw that.
Yeah, he's good. He kind of shocked the Spartan team last year in playoffs.
Right,
And
yeah. That was the team we lost to
Yeah.
in the semifinals.
Yep, they knocked us out.
And then they lost to
CBC.
Yeah.
So they've had some talent, obviously. Ty Stoltz is a player who's really good. He had a goal in that last game for them. So that should be a really fun game, I think. Coach Durso is trying to find that elusive state title. He's been to the finals 3 times in his tenure, I think, 8 years. I want to say 2 times, just 2 times. The last one was before him. It was the year before he came, I believe.
Our freshman year, we went.
Yep.
And the year before that, 2 years before that?
No, the year before that, yeah, we went. Our freshman and our 8th grade year.
Our 8th grade
Yep,
and our freshman
2019, 2018.
Okay.
Both losses to SLU. The second one was a heartbreaker.
That was a heartbreaker.
Double overtime.
I thought it was 3 overtime.
No, it was
double overtime.
Double overtime.
Yeah.
That was a devastating moment.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that, a player like Lockman
He was on that team.
Like Vito.
Yep.
Vito, yep.
Quality playing time in that game.
Mhm.
I have no doubt that that's on their mind as they go into playoffs this year,
Yeah, their senior year, they want to.
wanting revenge.
And speaking of Vito, I mean, he may not show up on the stat sheet as much, but he is one of my favorite hockey players to watch ever. I mean,
Yeah.
he is so quick on the ice.
He is got some of the best skating ability of anyone out there. His edges and his turns are so good every game. It's unbelievable.
He's not the biggest guy on the ice,
No.
by no means, but he's just so quick.
He's
in
just
his
got a great hockey
acceleration.
sense.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Yeah.
knows what to do with the puck
He
and where the
sees
puck's
things
going.
before
I
they
mean,
happen. You know,
And he's not afraid to get physical against bigger
Absolutely
offensive
not.
players and one-on-one situations. You're not going to get around Vito Biondo. It's a fact.
one guy I've been really pleasantly surprised with is Zdeněk Dobes.
Yeah.
Jakob Dobes' little brother.
Yeah, who's actually Jakob is having a excellent season
Yeah,
right
I
now
saw.
at Ohio State. He's really getting some looks from NHL scouts. He's been great. He came out of the Null last year and is their starting goalie, and he's got a bright future ahead of him for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw early on in the season he was up for Ohio State was ranked number 1 in the nation or something like that. Are they still there? Were they not ever there?
No, they are definitely in the top. They're a good program. They have a chance to get pretty far, I would think. They're 12 right now
They're 12
in the
right now.
ranking. So, be fun to see him come playoff time. See if he can
Yeah.
do some work for Ohio State. And then, as you said, his younger brother's playing great for us.
Zdeněk went on international break
Yeah.
in high school and played for the Czech Republic national team, the U18s, I believe.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, and came back, and it's been good to have him back. He's a solid force on the defensive end, but can also push the puck in transition, kind of
Yeah.
like Vito.
Yeah.
He's comfortable with the puck, but really a kind of a centurion on the defensive end.
All right, so the Marquette game will have happened, but I think we have a chance to predict the future a little bit here. So let's get some predictions, score line, maybe outcome. What are we thinking? Kyle, I'll let you go first.
I'm gonna go with a 4-2 win for the Yellow Buckies.
Okay.
Wow. I was going to say the exact same thing.
Ah,
I want an exciting game.
I think that fourth goal is gonna be an empty netter.
Okay.
So I think it's gonna be 3-2 until
Late in the game.
late in the game, and then an empty net 4-2 win.
Yeah. I don't see how this game could go down without Lockman scoring at least one.
I agree.
As a senior, I think he's gonna really put his mark on the game. I think he's gonna score another 2. I'm gonna go 3-1.
3-1.
I'm gonna say
I'll agree with you on that one.
even strength, third goal, no empty net. I think we're gonna get in the driver's seat a little bit. So I think that could be a good one. And then obviously basketball plays championship. Parkway West team, they put the whooping on a little bit. Trey Bell's a pretty talented player though. He scored a lot in that Coaches versus Cancer tournament. I think Spartans are really gonna want to come out with a win though.
Yeah, are we going to predict that one too?
I don't know the scoreline there, but I'm thinking Brian has 25.
Yeah, you think?
I think he's got over 25 points.
Over 25 points?
Yeah. When push comes to shove, Brian Taylor will score on you. That's
You know,
right.
most of the time that's a pretty extreme line, but not with Brian.
Not with
you know what I
Brian.
mean?
No. Although I will say, interesting point about these games at Parkway West. First of all, the court is longer than
Really?
it's like 3.5 feet longer, and then it was horrible footing. Everybody was slipping and sliding all game yesterday. I was afraid somebody's going to break an ankle. It's horrible. I was like, oh my god. So it definitely Brian had a few times where he couldn't quite get his footing. So I don't know, might have had an impact on there.
Who knew the elements come into play?
Yeah, hey,
Basketball.
these are important things sometimes. Some people say football should play in a dome for every time for these reasons. Elements, man. They're always going to happen.
Might have to wipe down the court
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
the championship game.
All right. Any other comments? We're going to try and talk to Dr. Cox before we air this. So we'll have a nice little conversation with him about how the season's going.
They're also going into the brunt of their season.
Yep.
With districts coming up and then,
Getting ready for state. I mean,
yeah, state.
we have Jesse Haas.
Yeah.
He's been getting closer every year.
Rickson, he's another one. He's
Yeah.
doing pretty good this year.
Yeah, he's been great.
Got a lot of people in contention for state this
Mhm.
year.
Absolutely. It's still a young team. They're
Oh, definitely.
got a lot of new guys, a lot of guys still learning the sport. But when you have kids like Hickson and Jesse,
Whatever. Just keep going.
what?
Nothing. It's Rickson, but it's fine.
It's Hickson.
That's Hickson.
It's
Is it?
Hickson.
Yeah.
The R is silent. It's Portuguese.
Yeah.
What?
It's Hickson.
It's Hickson, but it's spelled like Rickson.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not making that up.
Why would he just make that
Are you
up?
serious? I've never known this. This is newsflash
You
to
learn
me.
something new.
You
every
do
day
learn
on the
something
Smet
new.
Jesuit Podcast.
Yeah. Okay, so keep going. Sorry, I threw me off.
Sorry.
Threw you off.
Let me try to figure out where I am here. But when you got kids like Hickson,
Yep, Hickson. And
Jesse, you know these kids pick it up quickly. We have a good coaching staff with Dr. Cox, and I think that we can do well in the Class 4 state run. So.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so we're gonna bring you right in on the interview with Dr. Cox, and we'll see you later.
All right, we are here with Dr. Adrian Cox, the head wrestling coach here. Coach, how are you doing?
I am well, doing very, very well this morning. How are you?
Good. So we talked a little bit about the wrestling team, but we also couldn't find any stats online. So just wanted to do a quick interview, see how the season's going, and what's coming up for you guys.
Yeah, so the season is going well. Wrestling is a unique sport in the sense that our stats don't always, our wins and losses don't always represent how our team is doing, simply because wrestling is a sport. It's an individual sport, but it's a team sport as well. So, for example, for a duel, if we're wrestling another team, that consists of 14 matches, and whoever wins the majority of those matches and how they win those matches earns team points to help decide the outcome of that. So we've had several matches this year where we've won the majority of the matches that we've wrestled, but because they had more, the opposing team had more people on the team, we lost the duel as a whole. So while our record may not be indicative of the success that we've had, we have seen a ton of growth and a ton of success, especially on the individual level throughout the season, which is really, really good to see.
Yeah. Going off of that, who's someone that surprised you this year, whether it be like in ability, one of the younger guys, or maybe in leadership and one of the older guys?
You know, it's what has been surprising to me wrestling is a tough sport, and it's really tough whenever you come into it without a lot of experience. It's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to get, down on yourself whenever you don't have the success that you want to have, right? I think today a lot of people want to see that instant success, and wrestling isn't the sport for that. It takes time to grow and develop. So what's been most fulfilling is our guys that, even though they didn't have the success that they wanted to early in the season, they kept with it. They kept sticking to it. They kept working hard, and we are starting to see, and these guys are starting to see those little improvements that you want to see. And it culminates itself in different ways. It might be a freshman who's never wrestled before that wins his first match at a JV tournament, or a junior and that was Jimmy Greco is a great example of that. He's a freshman, didn't come in with a lot of experience, got, let's face it, beat on quite a bit in his early matches. It happens, but season grows, he gets more confident, and then later on in the season, he's competing in matches, and he won his first match, which is awesome to see. So you see it in that, and you also see it in our experienced guys, a guy like Hickson Taylor, who has been wrestling for a long time, but is continuing to grow and continuing to do the little things right. And now you watch him wrestle, and it's like, holy moly! Like, you've always been talented, but you're actually becoming a wrestler now, and you're doing the little things right, and that's what matters. So you see it in a variety of ways.
From the more experienced side, Jesse Haas, obviously senior, has never won state before. 3 years ago, we saw Corey Peterson do it, finally his senior year, and you could just tell, I saw it firsthand with practices and every match he wrestled, he just had that, like, this is only a step of getting where I want to be. Do you see that at all with Jesse, or is there something that makes you think, like, this is the year for him?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen, fortunately, in the last few years, this is my fifth year here, fifth year as a coach, and we've had a lot of individual success. We had Corey Peterson, who started us off as a state champ and really kind of brought that mindset that, man, hey, Smet wrestling is something. We can be successful here when you work hard and you do the little things right. Then we had Jacoby Jackson come through as a state champ. Colton King was a state champ. And we had other guys medaling at state. Jesse included is a 2-time state medalist already. The great thing about wrestling is the fact that your success is related to how hard you work. And those guys that are successful at the end of the season are the guys that work hardest throughout the year, not just during in season, but off season. And that definitely fits Jesse. Jesse is one of the hardest workers in the room, day in and day out. He does the right things outside of the room. So when you see those things add up, and they see that our guys see that, hey, this is what it takes to be successful. It's doing the right things. It's working hard. It's living your life the right way. That's what leads to success. So I'm really confident that he's going to have a successful end to his high school career.
Good. That's good to hear. Finally get some fortune headed his way.
Yeah.
And then one last question, just kind of a fun one. What's been your most favorite memory of the season so far?
Favorite memory of the season. I tell the guys I wish that I wore a GoPro 24/7, but especially during practices and during all that, because if they saw what I saw from my perspective, they would see some of the most insane and ridiculous. And sometimes it's during practices, sometimes it's during matches, sometimes it's just listening to them talk. So I don't know that there's one thing. Like, I know in previous years, we have another senior, Toby Moore. His first match ever, he wore his singlet backwards. And for the rest of the year, that's all that I could think about, him wearing a singlet backwards. So I don't know that I have one like that. It's a lot of little things where I just kind of look at the guys and then they look at me and it's like, what's going on, guys? What? But it's fun. And that's that community, that's that brotherhood that we build here as a school, but that we especially have on the wrestling team that makes it fun. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, I wish you had on GoPro you getting thrown by your brother.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
That would have been fun.
It's floating out there somewhere, so.
Oh, I have it. maybe if we have a video portion, we can add it to
Perfect.
So.
I'd appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll go back to the end of the podcast.
Awesome.
So great podcast. We had an awesome interview with Dr. Cox. Talked about winter sports. Something I didn't mention, hockey hoodies. They're looking great. I got mine on right now. Trying to plug the hockey team a little bit, going into playoffs. So order them. You got to order them. Yeah, they're great. Any final comments before we head out?
Where can we order a hoodie? Is the question.
I would say go through the hockey team. JD is the main source of information.
He's got the links.
I know you can Venmo. Just pay him in cash. So, yeah.
Pretty clean looking this year.
Yeah, I know. It's a nice, simple maroon design. Getting back to the basics. All for it.
Absolutely. And it'll look good when we have a maroon out at the state championship.
Yeah. I hope so. You better not be speaking too early here, Kyle.
I'm just optimistic.
I like it. All right.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. Inaugural podcast. We'll get one out the week after this. Hopefully everybody has a good rest of their January, which will be one day when this comes out, and has a good February. Thanks for joining us.
Thank
See
you.
you next time. Yep.